right. Well, thank you for being
Hey, no
here.
problem.
It's good to see you again.
Yay. Yeah, I apologize in advance if like ambient noise comes in from the other rooms. We've got family in for Thanksgiving already. So,
Oh, it's okay. Mine's in there, so don't feel bad.
okay, cool.
All right. Are you ready?
I think so. We got the video feed going, so yeah.
All right. I'm going to start at the back this time, since I started at the front the last
Okay.
time. But tell me, where is your favorite place to write?
Oh gosh, it's not really a where, it's a what. I like to write on my phone, apparently, and I just kind of write anywhere I am. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, like I actually get a lot of writing done while I'm waiting for to pick my daughter up from school. So that's kind of crazy.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's
Yeah.
awesome. I actually started Hoodwinked on my phone. So I think it's really cool when people are like, "Yeah, I write on my phone." I'm like, "Hey, I did too.
Yeah. It's like
I did that."
it's kind of funny because like I've noticed like Google Documents is really where I write, and the autocorrect there
Hmm.
is so much nicer and better than everywhere else. Where like if I'm talking in chat
Hmm.
or even answering replies on Facebook, they autocorrects like to the wrong words. It's ridiculous. But yeah, thank you, Google Docs.
Oh
Good.
yeah, it is. It's crazy. I have started using the Google Docs dictation on my computer, and it's actually really good
Oh,
too.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Hmm, I'll have to use that.
I didn't either. I saw a post on Facebook about it, and I was like, "Oh, hey, I want to try that."
Yeah.
And I did, and it works really well. I've gotten a lot written that way, not lately because I haven't been writing much, but before I hit this slump.
Oh no, you're in a slump? Oh,
Oh yeah, the slump. I'm like in there, and it's like instead of digging myself out, I'm digging further down.
oh,
It's a beautiful thing.
uh,
Um, what is your favorite genre to read and why?
to read. I guess
Hmm.
I kind of read everything, but when I was writing, since I write a fantasy, I kind of avoided fantasy while I was writing, so I didn't accidentally like steal tropes or ideas, if that makes sense. So I got like headlong
Hmm.
into science fiction really hard, like, and I'm in love with it. So, and I think that's because it's smarter than me, and I learn things.
I mean, that's a plus, that you learn things. I doubt that it's smarter than you, though. You seem really smart.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, like there was this one series, the first book's called We Are Legion, We Are Bob, and like there was just so much about AI and deep space travel that I never ever had any idea of, and like it went and touched on physics a lot too, and I was just like, whoa, I obviously slept through this part of school. Yeah,
Oh my goodness. If you had the opportunity to live anywhere in the world while you were writing a book based there, where would you choose?
um, probably Greece, Athens in specific, because that's actually I only found this out like a few months ago. But my grandmother was from Athens, and my grandfather was, from an island that got leveled off the coast of Greece. And they got married in Athens. We technically have a house there, or did, and we sold it. I don't know. So, but yeah, I'd
Oh, that's so
love to go and find out more about my genealogy. So, and that's a new thing for me. So I'd probably write about it as I was learning it too. Uh,
oh yeah, that's pretty nifty. I always wished that my family had something like that, but we're all from here and have been here for years. in years.
Not that
And I'm
here's
like,
not
really, why
interesting.
Kentucky of all places?
I did a bunch of
No, no, not at all. It's just
I did a bunch of maps because I'm an artist too, if you remember. But I did a bunch of maps for a
mhm.
like Revolutionary War era stuff, and a lot of the things that happened there, and all the families involved and the things they're pretty cool and very strange. It almost feels like
Yeah.
they tried to disown Florida at that point in time too, so that's nothing new. But
What or when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
it's funny because I have a paper from when I was, I think, third grade, and it says I want to be an artist of some sort, and I succeeded in that apparently. So yay!
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
Hey, not many people can say that they're doing what they wanted to do when they were kids.
yeah, yeah. Three or third grade, so that's what 8-year-old me would be very happy.
Yes. Um, do you write under a pen name, and if so, why?
Not really. I write under my first initial, my maiden name, and my last name. So that's actually my name, but I have it in that order because there's like a bajillion Heather Gorlitzes, and it's sort of funny because I actually
Hmm.
like there's a lot of us that are artists too, and I guess I kind of steal commissions from other Heather Scotts by being me and the one that they find on Facebook first. So.
Hey, it works out for
Yeah,
you.
but there's a violinist, and like she is amazing. So I'm happy to share my name with her. I just can't, like, I have to have it sort of weird so that people can find me otherwise.
Yeah, I'm glad you said your last name, by the way, because if I had to say it, I would have butchered it.
Gorlitz, yeah.
Like,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, it would have been bad and comical, probably.
well, it's a province in Germany too,
Very,
so
very.
finding out the pronunciation isn't too hard. But like if you actually
That's
type
awesome.
Gorlitz into Google, you get the Gorlitz Province Waterworks site, and none of us can read it. And we're all like, "What is this? It's amazing."
That's awesome. What is the first book that made you cry?
Huh. There's fireworks going on.
Hello, Aiden.
Um, actually, you know what? It would be. Do you remember that video game Myst? It was like a really old puzzle, complicated video game.
Oh yeah,
Okay, so they released a book series
yeah.
for it, and the very first book, which was the book, is Mist Book of Atris, I think is what it was called. And yeah, that it would be that one because there's a scene where, uh, I mean, in short, you fall in love with this kitten he finds, and this kitten doesn't survive a scene, and that wrecked me for like weeks. So
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
but actually those books are really good, and somebody's like online is adapting those into a web comic that I haven't gone back to in a while. So I'll have to find that.
Oh, that's awesome. I always like to see when people do stuff like that
Yeah,
because it's always interesting to me to see how somebody else pictures everything, if that makes
yeah,
sense.
it totally does. It's actually why I like getting artwork of my characters. So I get some.
Oh, that's awesome. I know there's a girl who does a lot in the because I write reverse harem, and in the reverse harem genre, there's like people who do that, and every time she makes a post, I'm like, "Ooh, do my book. I want to see what you think my characters look like." She hasn't gotten to it yet, but I'm hoping soon that it'll be my turn
Cool.
because I'm just curious.
Yay. Well, when you get it, when you finally get it, send it to me. I'd be happy to see that.
I know I love seeing the stuff. That's like the people who they hand draw the chibis or however they're
Yeah,
called, whatever they're. Yeah, I think those are so
they're
cool.
adorable. Gosh.
Like they freak out Sosha. who's my PA. They freak her out for some reason, but I just think they're
It's
adorable.
maybe the big heads and the soulless eyes.
I think it has to be. Um, how did you feel when you published your first book?
Um, kind of, it's surreal, like a sugar rush. Do you remember having those as a kid, where you could not stand still and you
Mhm.
bounced off the walls? And yeah, me and my daughter
Talking
probably
about as
played
a kid,
really hard that day.
I still eat all kinds of sugar and sugar rush all the time. Um,
Sugar's the
what
best
would your
thing.
spirit animal be? What?
Hmm, my spirit. I think maybe a ferret, because we're both hyper.
Why?
Um,
Because they're
oh
hyper.
yeah, yeah, no, you get me around a crowd of people who are happy, and I just get as happy and hyper with them, just kind of like ferrets do. So, like,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Um, do you read your book reviews?
Um, yeah, I think just because I get notifications. Um, that's strange, I guess maybe. But I've read them, and so far they're good. There's very few of them, but I don't
Well,
listen.
that's good that they're good because the bad ones crush your soul sometimes.
Uh, Maybe I don't know. I've gotten used, like with art school, you get very used to harsh critique, very quickly. So I just
Mm.
read it, try to find out why they would say it, and then move on. Because I get, you know, people say some really nasty things about paintings, and I'll just figure out what it was that they didn't like, keep it in mind for the next one if it's really any, valuable information to be found there, and then just carry on.
Hmm.
So,
Oh, where was I at? Oh, if you had to give up snacks and drinks or music during writing, which would be more difficult?
mu music would be the most difficult to give up, because I actually don't eat or drink while I'm writing, but I absolutely am listening to music of some sort. So, like, I have a soundtrack for my life, and I need it. It's a heavy metal.
Which of your characters are your favorite?
Uh, I have a particular affinity for both, like, the main characters of Shivoa, Flag and Dragonera. Um, Dragonera, because she was sort of, I've always written her um, just little sketches, like sketch stories in the notes while I was supposed to be paying attention to my math class, or science, and maybe that's what I was doing instead of sleeping through it. Um, and then her father, Flag, he he existed as like a comic character for a little while, and then when I uh, got brought into this traveling theater troupe thing that my friend ran, she wanted me to bring him in as a character for that, for like the various stage shows we did. So I did, and it was weird. But yeah. Uh,
Do you have any rituals or superstitions when writing?
um, Not really. I will, without fail, open Scrivener when I'm at my computer, then open Spotify in this order. Then I'll accidentally close Scrivener, trying to minimize Spotify, and then I'll open Scrivener again so that I can write. It just happens that way.
Whatever works. What's your favorite scene to write? Like the ending, plot, backstory, dialogue.
Uh, I have a lot of fun with dialogue, and I think that's because before I went into writing, prose proper, I would actually do comics. My story started off as comics, and so writing a comic script is a lot like writing a screenplay. Just you don't have to worry about the
Hmm.
mechanics of like the camera and all that stuff, so you can kind of just go nuts. But everything in comics is dialogue centric, so I got used to writing that way, writing for dialogue. So I have a lot of fun with it. And I've gotten a few compliments that my dialogue actually flows and makes sense. So I'm happy about that.
I am gonna ask you this before I forget because I remember because we met at
Yeah.
LLS and after LLS ended, um, I saw where you had done a post where you left your book. Was it on a vending machine for someone
Yeah.
or
I've left my. It's almost like a thing I want to do for road trips, and more so when I get the audiobook done. But I wanted to like. There's a thing that artists do, where they're called art drops, where they'll drop art in locations, and it's just
hmm
a little free thing. It's like, hey, if you found this, tag me. Um, I decided that I wanted to do that with books because when I traveled a lot as a passenger and whatever, I would just read and tune out the rest of the trip while being absorbed into a book. And I was just like, well, there's a lot of people who stop at these rest stops. Like the one on the way to and from LLS was the Georgia Florida border like greeting stop. And so
yeah.
it wasn't that one wasn't the vending machine. The vending machine was the following week, or maybe it was the week after that, where I went to
I think you were going to another signing.
yeah, it was I went to Tampa Bay Comic Con, and there's a rest stop right there at gosh, what county was that? I want to say Lake. But there's a rest stop that like everybody who comes up 75 and getting on I-4 stops at. So that was where I dropped that one off. And it was gone when I went and checked again. So someone got it. So
Yeah, I was gonna. That was my question. Is has anybody ever contacted you from where you've done that,
no, but I do think
or
that
have
one of my
any of them
reviews
been
came from
gone?
that. Because there was just like a little hint that they picked it up while they were on a trip, and I was just like, oh, that must be where that came from. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I thought it was really cool when I saw that you had done that,
Yeah, it's just
but I didn't want to forget that question, so I had to ask it. Um, what do you like to do when you're not writing
I'm drawing. uh, I'm drawing and plotting. Like,
and not drawing?
uh, no, that's almost a constant for me though. If I'm not writing, I'm drawing. If I'm not drawing, I'm writing. If I'm doing neither of them, I'm probably driving or watching my kid. So, yeah.
What is your work schedule like when you are writing?
Um, that's interesting. Because it's intermingled with my drawing and my art stuff. So it's usually I'm working when my daughter's at school. So that would be Monday through Friday from 9 o'clock in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm at home working. Um, and then on her summer breaks, the schedule's kind of all out the window. I have to wait until she's in bed to do anything. So,
I have two of those, so I feel bad.
yeah. She's getting better about leaving work.
How long does oh, that's good. How old is
She's
she?
8. So, yeah.
8.
Sometimes she,
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl.
oh, oh, they're awesome at that age. They're a lot of work. I mean, I agree,
Yeah,
but they're so
it's
cute.
very rare I get work done throughout the day. Very, very
Oh,
rare. Oh, I just had the question in my hand that I was going to ask you. Oh, how long does it normally take you to write a book?
Um, I I can't answer that in all honesty. Because the book that I was premiering at Literary Love Savannah, Shavoah Sunrise, is my first full novel, and that one took me 3 years to write. But I had it as a comic series before, like I said, and the individual what they call
Mhm.
floppies, the single issues, I would they took me about a year to do, to be honest. But that was because I was drawing them too. Uh, so I'm still
Yeah.
learning. I'm learning what my pace is. I think maybe 3 years is kind of a goal for me to be able to turn books around because that lets me not only write it really quick, but go through and make sure that I don't have plot holes or that I set things up for the next book because there's a lot of stuff to keep track of.
Yeah.
The oddness of writing a series instead of a single story.
Hmm. Which other author is your guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure implies that like I should be embarrassed to read these people, but I'm not. So,
Well, these all came. I did a post in my readers group, and this was all the questions on the
oh,
post.
okay. Um, well, instead of saying like a guilty pleasure, I find myself constantly coming back to Neil Gaiman. Um, like I don't know that I would be the person I am if he didn't write what he did, what he does. So I'll just
Yeah.
uh, I don't know about guilty pleasure, but he's definitely my favorite. Um, and Stephen King's up there too. Uh, so
Oh, you gotta love Stephen King.
yeah, especially on Twitter, he's hilarious.
What is something that makes you happy?
Um, well, my daughter, because she is the best comedian I have ever met. Uh, uh, she, I mean, okay, so she has this post, or I posted this, but the other day, just out of the blue, she said that what was it? You have to smell the air because that is your punishment for hearing the fart. So, how can you not love that?
Yeah, that's definitely, yeah, she's got a comedic future.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Uh,
Is there any genre or storyline that you would never write?
um, mm, I'm not particularly good at romance. I especially after reading what you guys, what I picked up from you guys at Literary Love Savannah, I'm like, oh man, these people kick my ass at this. But I won't say
Well,
that I'll never
I
write
think
it,
we
but
actually
it's
booked
hard to
them.
get there.
Yeah.
Um, I'm also really bad
Um,
at horror because like I get caught up
oh
in the
really? I love her.
me too. I love reading it. And when I go to write it, I get stuck in the atmosphere. And then I just kind of don't want to do the jump scare that ruins all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. How do you stay motivated?
uh, there are days where I don't, but uh, I guess Alethea, my friend Alethea, posted it best. Even on the days that you don't, you just really just struggle with it. Go ahead and try and fight with it, and even if it is a struggle, you still did something. And when you feel a little more ready, you can come back to what you did and maybe pick up, what you were trying to do then. And I found that that's true. Art
Hmm.
wise, like there are days where my hands just don't want to draw circles or noses or, the other eye. Um, and then with writing, it's the same way. I will write a thing and it's trash. And then I'll go back and I'll be like, well, I like this out of it. And I'll, pluck that out and write something better around it. So just keep
Yeah,
on keeping on.
that's a really good. way to look at it. Have there been any scenes you have written that has been harder to write than others?
Um, Endings, I'll be honest, I'm really, they're hard to write because I just want to keep going. Um, but I'm finally getting a beat on it, so yay. Uh,
Oh, I love and
well, I might have to take a cue from you then.
I mean,
Uh, let's see. Um, Certain types of action scenes I have a really hard time with. I can write a fight really well, but trying to keep the focus of if there's a fight, there's got to be a story reason for the fight, and the story still has to continue through the fight. So sometimes, while I'm writing this awesome scene, I've got to remember to keep the story in it. Otherwise, I've
yeah,
created a action flick.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. Um, what, in your opinion, is the best part of being an author, and what is the worst?
The best part of being an author is like, I mean, writing my story, putting it out in the world. Like I'm so happy to be able to share it without having to tell it over and over and over again, you know? Now I can actually hand my friends my book and be like, I did the thing, and I love it. And then they come back and they're like, they have questions about the characters or the setting, and I was just like, yay, and I don't have to explain the whole story to get them to that point. And the hardest thing,
Yeah.
um, marketing. Oh my Lord, I hate marketing. That's the same with artwork. I hate marketing in the artwork too. Uh, I think I'm getting better at it though.
Hey, that's, all you can do is get better at it.
Yeah.
Um, what advice would you give someone wanting to write a book?
Um, well, I guess it sort of depends on what's holding them back. But I've actually thrown people at the NaNoWriMo a lot. I'm like, hey, go ahead and write a crap novel. It's right there. Just join the others with this challenge. Do it. Do
Oh,
it,
are
do
we
it, do it, do
frozen?
it. And so that's my advice. Just do
I
it.
think we're
No one
frozen.
else has to read it. Um, you can go back and fix it.